Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Now on WRAL News on Fox 50, half a dozen apartments were damaged from this late-night fire in Raleigh. We are going to take you to the aftermath hours after firefighters put out the flames.
And great temperatures this evening for the trick-or-treaters, but this morning there's a little patchy fog. I'll show you where. And a water main break closes a road in North Raleigh. The trouble workers are facing as they expect it to stay closed into the weekend.
Plus, a new WRAL News poll shows the issues that are most important to you this election. What's driving both Democrats and Republicans to the polls? We will break that down for you this morning here on WRAL. Thank you so much for waking up and choosing to watch us here. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Happy Halloween. There was a little bit of fog going on at Dix Park behind us. It looked a little creepy. It's perfect for today.
The lady doing yoga left.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, she did. But meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has a look over Lewisburg. It still looks creepy out there. It does. We have pockets of fog in places, and Lewisburg is one of those places. You can see the school buses come through. You know, those buses have those flashing yellow lights for a reason, and one of those is foggy mornings. You can see how the bridge there over the Tar River looks especially foggy. So river bottoms, low-lying areas, rural spots are definitely looking a bit foggy this morning. 60 is our current temperature, dew point 57. What a perfect way to start off a Halloween with some nice patchy fog. 54 in Fayetteville right now, 55 Rocky Mount, 54 in Roxborough, 60 in the Triangle. Visibility at a quarter mile is what we would consider fog. So Lewisburg showing up with some fog this morning. Goldsboro is close to it with a mile of visibility. We had some fog up in Roxborough. The visibility is back up to around a mile. But Fayetteville and Irwin, as well as Smithfield, showing foggy conditions there on our map. Halloween forecast, definitely warm. We'll see partly cloudy skies with highs in the low 80s. But by trick-or-treat time, it's really feeling comfortable. Temperatures will be dropping from the mid-70s to about 70 degrees through trick-or-treat time. Looking ahead, we are going to see cooler temperatures for the weekend. I'll show you the front that'll bring those our way. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, here in the WRAL Traffic Center, we're on top of that breaking news on I-885 in the southbound lanes there in Durham. There's a crash. We're told that there's causing a lane closure there in those southbound lanes. We're also seeing major delays in the northbound lanes as well. Checking the sensors. In terms of the southbound lanes, you're looking at a 21-minute delay leaving the Bull City this morning. If you're trying to get into the Bull City in those northbound lanes, you're looking at a 14-minute delay. Back here in Wake County, looking at the Beltline this morning, we're seeing the usual slowdown around Lake Wheeler Road. But things really clear up as you get past Gorman Street and over to Jones Franklin Road, so not a problem to report this morning. You're probably looking at either way a 3 to 5 minute delay. The other trouble spot, of course, US 1, and that's really a mix of the traffic lights and the congestion that's building this morning. I looked at the sensors. You're looking at maybe a 12 to 15 minute delay, particularly our friends coming in from Wake Forest this morning. Elsewhere around the Triangle and surrounding communities, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown there on Highway 70, and also you're coming in from the south. US 1 coming in from Apex, you're looking at some congestion building there as well. I'll keep an eye on that and let you know exactly what's going on. You can listen to us on the radio if you're doing the same. We appreciate that. 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
Breaking overnight, people are out of their homes because this fire here, it tore through their apartment building in Raleigh. This happened at the Walden Woods condominiums off Millbrook Road. Let's go ahead and bring in WRAL's Nick Perlin. He has been there this morning in the aftermath. Nick, I can see the damage behind you. Can you still smell the smoke out there?
Yeah, Chris, you can. It honestly smells like a campfire, and it's been that strong smell of smoke all morning, and it's continuing this morning. Take a look at this damage, though, behind me, and as the sun continues to rise, it's just becoming more apparent just how massive this fire was. The top part of the building completely torn apart. You can see massive holes there in the roof there. Let's take a look at some of this video, though, from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker last night. You can see the smoke here and the flames just completely filling up this part of the apartment complex. Now, we do know that everybody was able to make it out of the fire last night, which is good. No injuries to report, but we do know 6 units were damaged, and we know several families are going to be without a home right now. So that's the unfortunate news, but we are at this point still trying to work with the Raleigh Fire Department to find out what caused this fire. As new information becomes available, we'll be sure to update you. Live in Raleigh, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
This morning, crews are working to get Crabtree Boulevard in Raleigh back open, specifically between Raleigh Boulevard and Capitol Boulevard. The city says a water main break could close the road through the weekend. As WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains, the old pipes are making this a pretty challenging fix.
Right now, crews are working as fast as they can on final repairs. We've seen them working here since 4:30 this morning, and they're expected to repave the road at some point later today. Now, if Crabtree Boulevard is a part of your commute at any point today, this could impact you. Take a look at this video from Sky 5 of the damage after the break. This happened early yesterday morning. Officials with Raleigh Water say this infrastructure is old. It was built back in the 1960s. That makes the break even more difficult to repair.
The problem is our valves aren't closing all the way, so you can see some of the water coming out. We got it closed down pretty well, but there's still some leaking out.
The good news is this. At last check, only one business is without water on this road right now. And the city says that you'll still be able to access the Gateway Plaza that's here across the street while crews are still working. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
New this morning, our new WRAL News poll shows the economy is still the #1 issue driving voters this election. Overall, 6 out of 10 voters ranked the economy as one of their top issues. 56% of respondents said healthcare is a top issue. 54% said they are concerned about defending democracy. At campaign stops in North Carolina yesterday, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump directly addressed the issue.
I will give a middle-class tax cut to over 100 million Americans. Enact the first ever federal ban on price gouging on groceries. And fight to make sure that hardworking Americans can actually afford a place to live.
She caused the inflation by screwing up my energy policies. She caused the inflation and spending way too much money on the Green New scam. She caused it. But why didn't she do something about it?
Our poll showed the economy was ranked even higher by Republicans and independent voters. Democrats identified health care as their leading concern, and that's consistent with what voters told us back during our September survey.
We'll be watching for several new economic reports over the next couple of days. In the next half hour, the PCE report will be released. That measures what we're paying for basic goods and services like groceries. Tomorrow morning, the October jobs report comes out, and that's out all after yesterday's gross domestic product report. It grew last quarter, however, not as much as expected.
The presidential campaigns have more stops scheduled here in North Carolina in the final days leading up to Election Day. Senator J.D. Vance will be in Selma tomorrow, and former President Donald Trump will have rallies in Gastonia, near Charlotte, and in Greensboro on Saturday. That same day, Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Charlotte.
And Kamala Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, he was in North Carolina yesterday. He made stops in Charlotte, Greensboro, and Asheville.
A Nebraska man is facing human trafficking charges in Durham. Police arrested 39-year-old Jerry Guess as part of a nationwide investigation. He's charged in 3 separate cases this year. Guess is being held on a $6 million bond. He operates a business in Durham called Guess & Company. The SEC filed a complaint against the business this year. It claims Guess inflated its value by millions of dollars to defraud investors. Durham police say that they want to speak with anyone who worked for Guess.
This is a live look in Chapel Hill right now, courtesy of the Top of the Hill camera. Tonight, huge crowds will be downtown to celebrate Halloween. The town plans to increase its police presence. Town leaders say they do not have plans to close any downtown streets. They say that they expect people to stay on the sidewalks, and they don't anticipate any impact to traffic or parking.
Your time is 8:09 this morning. Prepare to fall back this weekend as daylight saving time ends. With that time change comes the risk of seasonal depression. We'll talk about treatments doctors recommend if you start to notice the symptoms.
And the Dodgers fans are on top of the world this morning as their team secure the World Series win, how they're celebrating the championship. And it's kind of a busy 7-day forecast. Of course, Halloween today looks warm and bright. We have perfect temperatures, though, for the trick-or-treaters as we drop into the 70s. And then it's a little cooler for the weekend. I'll show you why coming up. Welcome back on your Halloween as we take a live look over Lewisburg. A little bit of fog there. It's perfect for this morning, right? You're watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Lots of areas seeing that fog, including Pinehurst, where Elizabeth Gardner is standing in front of. There's still golfers out there, though. This is my kind of golf, though. You know, you hit the ball, you can't see where it went. That's me. Yes, sign me up for that. We're not going to see this fog lasting too much longer. You can see some blue sky and even some sunshine there reflecting on the buildings there at Pinehurst Resort and Country Club. And so that's going to help that fog to dissipate pretty quickly. But in some places, the visibility is pretty low. Lewisburg, we saw that camera there just a second ago. Visibility is under a quarter of a mile, and quarter of a mile or below is what we would consider fog. Goldsboro's dropped down to a quarter of a mile, and we head down to the south. Smithfield, Irwin, Goldsboro, as I said, and Fayetteville, all sitting in that threshold of, there's probably some fog there. We've had some warm air. High pressure is sitting offshore, is pushing the air from the south up into our region with a little bit of moisture. And so that's what has helped to bring us some fog. Yesterday, we had some low cloud cover along with that. Probably see the same thing tomorrow, again, with some fog. But it's been a really fun way to start Halloween, to have a little bit of patchy fog. And I think it's going to be so warm this afternoon, our skeleton may just pass out. So just watch out. Around town, 79 for our high in Durham, 81 in Raleigh, 82 degrees in Fayetteville. And of course, for trick-or-treat time, no jacket or coat, no umbrella. Flashlight, maybe. We'll have a new moon, meaning the sky will be dark. So if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of street lights, you may need that flashlight with you. At 5 o'clock, 76. At 7 o'clock, 71. And at 9 o'clock, 66. Really pleasant temperatures, partly cloudy skies, just lovely for the trick-or-treaters. The next thing that happens is a cold front comes through for Friday night. There has been some severe weather along that front. It's quieted down a little bit, and we'll have very little rain with this as it comes through our area. Friday morning, maybe partly cloudy skies. As the front approaches, we may cloud up a little bit, and then an itsy-bitsy chance of a shower in a few places. A sprinkle or two is about all we would see. Really nothing measuring in the rain gauges. Football Friday might be a little cloudy, but I wouldn't expect any rain. Temperatures are still mild. 6 o'clock, 78, and 74 degrees at 8 p.m. Stanford plays at NC State at noon on Saturday. Tailgating ahead of it. It might be a little cloudy in the morning, but will be partly cloudy in the afternoon with temperatures in the 60s. Should feel like a very comfortable fall day. 50% chance of some development in the tropics, but high pressure is likely to keep that down to the south. We are seeing the computer models picking up on it and then dropping it and picking up on it and dropping it. Nothing real consistent on where that storm may develop or go. Don't forget, over the weekend, we set the clocks back 1 hour. And of course, there's a big difference in the sunrise and sunset between Saturday and Sunday. I'll take a look at that coming up, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, we're staying on top of breaking news in Durham. We're talking about a crash, closing a lane or two there on the southbound lanes of I-885. We're also seeing major delays in those northbound lanes as well. In terms of delays, you're looking at a 20-minute delay if you're heading away from Durham this morning. If you're heading to the Bull City, just looking at a 10-minute delay. That was up to like a half hour a minute ago. So things are beginning to improve now. Keep an eye on it, of course. The other troubled spot right here in Wake County, US 1 north and southbound lanes. That's really a mix of the congestion and the traffic lights there on Capitol Boulevard. We're also seeing a situation on US 1 coming in from Apex as well. You're looking at a 7-minute delay, and US 1 coming in from Apex, a 9-minute delay for our friends coming in from Wake Forest this morning. If you're heading out this morning, you can listen to us on the radio anytime, 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle. You also have a couple other options as well, 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
A Florida teenager is accused of bringing a machete to a polling place near Jacksonville and intimidating people. Well, that's why 18-year-old Caleb Williams was arrested Tuesday for voter intimidation. A group of teenagers are seen on video you see here waving Trump flags and shouting at the polls, and police say Williams right here can be seen holding the weapon. A volunteer there said Williams sliced up a Harris sign with a machete. Williams is now banned from being within 1,000 feet of a polling location unless he's voting.
More than 3.3 million people in North Carolina have already cast their votes for the election. That's more than 43% of registered voters statewide. More than 371,000 votes have been cast so far in Wake County. Early voting continues through Saturday.
When you vote early, you get a sticker as proof. Wake County sticker goes beyond the words, I voted. It features a kid riding a unicorn. Shannon Fisher from Neuse River Middle School designed this look. Wake County's Board of Elections challenged students to submit an original I Voted Early sticker design. And the public voted online last year that this was their favorite.
Very cute. Happening today, the Centennial Authority will meet to discuss building and construction at the Lenovo Center. They'll hear an update on changes to the arena and discuss construction staffing. That meeting gets started at 11:30.
People in Spain are mourning the deaths of at least 95 people killed in floods there. The Spanish government decreed 3 days of national mourning. Meteorologists say the worst rainfall in nearly 30 years caused high water to swamp the southern and eastern parts of the country. Teams are working to find dozens of people who are still missing.
Tuberculosis replaced COVID-19 as the top cause for infectious disease-related deaths in 2023. The World Health Organization says more than 8 million people worldwide were diagnosed with tuberculosis last year. That's the highest on record since the organization began tracking cases in 1995. About 1.25 million people died of the disease last year. The WHO said TB mostly affects people in Southeast Asia, Africa, and the Western Pacific.
This weekend, daylight saving time ends and we'll fall back. Psychologists warn of symptoms of seasonal affective disorder, typically happening around this time. Here's Sean Langiel.
While many people are enjoying moderate fall temperatures, to quote Game of Thrones, winter is coming. And with the changing of the seasons comes a form of depression called seasonal affective disorder.
Major depressive disorder with a seasonal pattern is when someone experiences symptoms of depression that begin at a certain time of year. That is usually in the fall or winter. And then those symptoms remit or disappear, usually in the spring.
Symptoms can start presenting themselves as the days get shorter. The end of daylight saving time, which is November 3rd, can be a major trigger for those impacted.
They tend to come out of the work for that first time on Monday, and it's suddenly dark, which was not the case the Friday before.
Psychology experts say these signs may indicate that you or someone you know may need help.
Someone can feel numb, emotionless, empty, most of the day, nearly every day. Activities that you once enjoyed no longer bring you pleasure.
Meanwhile, a person's gender and where they live may also increase their risks.
Women are 4 times more likely to experience this. Individuals who live in the Midwest, like Indiana, and in the northern states, who live in the New England states or Alaska, are also more likely to experience major depressive disorder with a seasonal pattern.
While a variety of treatments are available,
they include antidepressant medications, bright light therapy, and cognitive behavioral talk therapy. Try to get outside as much as possible.
Doctors recommend reporting worsening symptoms.
That was Sean Langiel reporting. One of the largest lithium-ion battery processing facilities in the world went up in flames. Take a look at this. Plumes of smoke filling the sky as nearby residents were asked to evacuate. This is about 100 miles south of St. Louis. No injuries were reported in the fire. Nearby schools closed early yesterday. Federal environmental officials are monitoring air quality and water runoff for any contamination.
A mother in Cameron says her Maytag oven spontaneously turned on and exploded. Well, that's why she says she wants a recall on the ovens. See for yourself. This is Atella Walker's Maytag Gemini oven. You see the damage here? Last month, she contacted 5 on Your Side because she says the appliance exploded in the middle of the night, and that sent glass across her kitchen. When she couldn't get help from the manufacturer, that's when she called Keeley.
If my grandkids had been in this kitchen, they would have been seriously harmed, if not killed. There was glass that shattered all throughout. There was glass all over the floor, all over the table, everywhere.
Tonight, only on WRAL News at 6, how 5 on Your Side intervened to get Walker a replacement, plus the concerning trend our team found involving similar appliances.
If you need a ride to the polls on Election Day, the city of Raleigh can help. The city council agreed to waive charges for city buses on November 5th. They'll be free. The city hopes this will encourage people to get out and vote.
Halloween events will be in full swing at Fort Liberty today. The base has events lined up to entertain ghosts, goblins, and ghouls of all ages. Military families will enjoy their Halloween costume parade at 10 this morning. Then trick-or-treating in Fort Liberty housing areas will begin at 6 and last until 9 p.m.
And a bright spot for parents with babies in the Rex Neonatal Intensive Care Unit in Raleigh. Look at these sweet, precious babies. Nurses dressed up these strong little ones in costumes to celebrate Halloween. From adorable ladybugs to little lions and these infants, they are just the best kind of treat. Look at that, how sweet. Nurses always get parents' permission before putting on costumes or taking photos. But I mean, who would say no to that? Look how cute.
A little country music star on the left there.
Adorable.
Tell us your tale, little baby. Part of a road is closed in Raleigh this morning, and old pipes could be the reason. This morning, you'll hear why a water main break is closing a street near a shopping center for days.
And the results are in. A brand new WRAL News poll shows the issues you care about this election and the topic that's driving both Democrats and Republicans to the polls.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning, happy Thursday, and happy Halloween. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Nothing spooky about our weather forecast today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has a look around town.
It's going to be nice. Looking at 60 degrees right now in Durham and in Raleigh, and 55 in Fayetteville. We're seeing mostly clear skies, but there is some patchy fog. That fog has already started to dissipate a bit, but you could run into a little bit of that in some places, especially south of the Triangle. Temperatures mid-50s to near 60 heading out the door. We'll see a high near 80 degrees this afternoon, but trick-or-treat time temperatures look really nice in the low to mid-70s, and we'll see clear skies. Ken?
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, that crash we've been monitoring on I-885 in the southbound lanes has cleared, but we're still seeing the lingering delays in the southbound lanes and the northbound lanes. Right now, you're just looking at a 5-minute delay in those southbound lanes, a 13-minute delay in those northbound lanes, so keep that in mind if you're about to head out this morning. In terms of major roadways coming into the capital city, the real trouble spot, two really, Capitol Boulevard coming in from Wake Forest and US 1 coming in from Apex area this morning.
Thanks, Ken. Part of Crabtree Boulevard in Raleigh will be closed through the weekend as crews work to repair a water main break. The road runs between Capitol Boulevard and Raleigh Boulevard. The city says access to the shopping center will still be available from the road while that work is being done. And Raleigh police will have extra patrols around Peach Road Park in the southern part of the city today after a man is accused of sexually assaulting a girl under the age of 18. Police say it happened just before 10 yesterday. They later arrested that man. Next on Fox 56, Raleigh apartment units damaged in a late-night fire. New information about the people forced out of their homes.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Right now on Fox 50, half a dozen apartments were damaged from a late-night fire in Raleigh. The new information we've learned about the number of people forced out of their homes this morning.
And our Halloween planner, temperatures this evening looking great in the 70s, but we do have some patchy fog that is still lingering this morning. I'll show you where.
And a water main break forced a North Raleigh road to close, and likely it's going to stay closed into the weekend. The mess this is making for the team working to repair it.
Plus, the Los Angeles Dodgers are waking up champions. Fans from Japan to LA and everywhere in between are celebrating their team's victory over the New York Yankees. What a game that was last night. The Yankees took the early lead. We totally thought there was going to be another game, but the Dodgers, they won. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Chris Lovingood. Those people there you saw, that was from Shohei Ohtani's hometown. They're clearly elated today.
Excited.
You might be elated today as you're going trick-or-treating out there. Weather-wise, we've got meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracking that, and people hitting the links in Pinehurst.
Yeah, if you have the day off, it's a nice day to be out and about. Just about 10 minutes ago, we pulled this up. There was still a good bit of fog. Big changes, though. That sunshine starting to warm things up and causing that fog to dissipate. 60 degrees in the Triangle as you head out the door. Dew point's 57, and so that's an okay dew point. It gets into the 60s, and you can start to feel a little bit of humidity. It's 54 in Southern Pines, 60 in Durham, and 58 in South Hill right now as you're stepping out the door. Still fog showing up on some of our sensors. Lewisburg showing up below a quarter of a mile, and Goldsboro right at a quarter of a mile. You'll likely run into some fog there, as well as Smithfield, Irwin, and things are starting to look a little bit better now in Southern Pines. There are 4-mile visibility, but still some pockets in a few spots. Looking warm this afternoon with a high up 80 degrees, but once we get to trick
trick or treat time. Our temperatures will drop into the 70s and it will feel very comfortable. It's going to be warm again tomorrow, but a front will bring us some cooler temperatures over the weekend. I'll show you how much rain it could bring us to. Coming up, Ken.
Well, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. I want to return to that situation in Durham just one more time at I-885 in both the north and southbound lanes. If there's a crash there earlier, that's completely cleared, but we're still seeing a lingering delay there in those northbound lanes heading into Durham this morning. You're probably looking at a 3 to 5 minute delay. Back here in Wake County, we're seeing a crash on Lake Boone Trail in the westbound lane near Blue Ridge Road. Not seeing any issues in that area, but you might see some police activity, so just be mindful of that. This serious crash on Capitol Boulevard in the southbound lane near Old Wake Forest Road. Here again, we're not seeing any issues, but just in case you have to navigate that intersection, you know what you're running into this morning. The troubled spot, really, US 1 coming in from Wake Forest this morning, both in the north and southbound lanes. What you're really seeing is a mix of the congestion coupled with the traffic lights there on US 1 each and every morning. So you know the drill. Some of you use Lewisburg Road as an alternate route, and I totally understand that. And this morning, that's a great option for you too as well. Isolating the Beltline. Look at this time of the morning, no delays on the Beltline in the northern or southern loop. You're getting ready to head out. We'll keep you updated on the radio 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
Thanks, Ken. New information regarding breaking news that we've been following all morning. 10 people are out of their homes after an overnight fire ripped right through a Raleigh apartment building. Nick Perlin in the WRAL breaking news tracker tells us no one was hurt, but there's a lot of damage.
10 people are without a home this morning after a massive fire broke out at this Raleigh apartment complex behind me. Now take a look at this video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. You can see just how large this fire is with flames covering most of this complex. Now, the Raleigh Fire Department did tell me they got everybody out, so there were no injuries, and they even were able to save part of the building. However, 6 units in the building are damaged. Now, the Raleigh Fire Department is still trying to figure out what exactly led to this fire. Once we find out the cause, we'll be sure to update you. In Raleigh, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
This morning, teams are working to get Crabtree Boulevard in Raleigh back open. You see this mess right here? Specifically, this is between Raleigh Boulevard and Capitol Boulevard. The city says a water main break there could have the road closed through the weekend. As WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains, the old pipes are making this a challenge to fix.
Right now, crews are working as fast as they can on final repairs. We've seen them working here since 4:30 this morning, and they're expected to repave the road at some point later today. Now, if Crabtree Boulevard is a part of your commute at any point today, this could impact you. Take a look at this video from Sky 5 of the damage after the break. This happened early yesterday morning. Officials with Raleigh Water say this infrastructure is old. It was built back in the 1960s. That makes the break even more difficult to repair.
The problem is our valves aren't closing all the way, so you can see some of the water coming out. We got it closed down pretty well, but there's still some leaking out.
The good news is this. At last check, only one business is without water on this road right now. And the city says that you'll still be able to access the Gateway Plaza that's here across the street while crews are still working. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh. New this morning, our latest WRAL News poll shows the economy is still the #1 issue driving voters in this election. Republicans and Democrats differ on what their other top issues are, though. For Republicans, immigration ranks #2, just behind the economy, while Democrats say their top concern is access to health care. Both presidential candidates spoke to their party's priorities at their rallies yesterday. Former President Trump said in Rocky Mount that the U.S. has been, quote, occupied by immigrants.
November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. It'll be Liberation Day. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. I will rescue every city and town that's been invaded and conquered.
You will pay even more if Donald Trump finally gets his way and ends the Affordable Care Act, which will throw, if he were to win, which would throw millions of Americans off their health insurance and take us back to when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. You remember what that was like? Well, we are not going back.
Vice President Harris told supporters in Raleigh yesterday that her opponent would end Obamacare with no plan to replace it. Our poll found that Harris and Trump tied at 47% support each. And coming up later today, we'll bring you the latest poll numbers in the race for state attorney general and go more in depth on what North Carolinians say they care most about in this election.
Former President Donald Trump is seizing on President Biden's garage comment. Trump left his plane in Green Bay, Wisconsin, while wearing a neon safety vest you see here. He then climbed inside of a garbage truck on the tarmac with his name and slogan on the side. Biden says his comment was in reference to a comedian at Trump's rally who made offensive jokes about Puerto Rico. Trump compared the comment to Hillary Clinton's 2016 deplorable comment about Trump supporters.
A second person has been arrested in connection with a shooting at Crabtree Valley Mall over the weekend. 22-year-old Jamarian Burton is charged with firing a gun into an occupied property. Police first arrested 24-year-old Jaquez Brown on Monday. He's accused of shooting into a car with two teenagers inside in the Macy's parking deck. Brown is being held on a $200,000 bond. No one was hurt in that shooting.
Today, Governor Roy Cooper will spend time in North Carolina's mountains. He and country music star Eric Church will visit Banner Elk. They'll survey Helene's damage from the storm and talk to people the storm affected most. Church calls the mountains home there. He's originally from Granite Falls. Governor Cooper will also visit Grandfather Mountain as it reopens for tourism. You can tune into WRAL this evening as reporter Brett Neese is in Banner Elk for the governor and Eric Church's visit.
The Los Angeles Dodgers are World Series champions once again. They came back from a 5-0 deficit in last night's Game 5 to beat the New York Yankees 7-6 and close out the Fall Classic. It is the 8th World Series win in Dodgers history and their first since 2020. Freddie Freeman, who hit 4 home runs in the series, was named the MVP. No shock there. And Dodgers fans poured into the streets of LA to celebrate the team's championship. Fans didn't get to celebrate much after the pandemic season win in 2020, so this time they are definitely getting that parade. Tomorrow, the team will ride on a double-decker bus through the city, followed by a celebration with fans inside Dodger Stadium.
Looks like a traffic nightmare, but for a good reason. More E. coli cases are being linked to McDonald's burgers. Just minutes away, you will hear where investigators are on this case as nearly 100 people have gotten sick.
And Elon Musk will appear in court today why Pennsylvania leaders are working to block his $1 million sweepstakes.
And we wanted to give you a live look at Pinehurst as we wake up on this Halloween. Look at all those people enjoying the nice weather out there. After the break, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will share the trick-or-treating outlook for you. Look at that. Fog all cleared out, have nice clear skies in Southern Pines as you're waking up this morning. Beautiful day to wake up, especially on Halloween. Though you may want to choose the proper costume today so you're not sweating too much. We've got meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner getting you started on your forecast with a nice look at Apex.
Yeah, the big bear suit may not be the right call today, as warm as it's going to be. We take a live look at Apex and looking at clear skies, looking beautiful. There has been some patchy fog in a few places, but mostly we're seeing sunshine as folks are heading out the door. And it is 60 degrees, so it's a pleasant start this morning. Our dew point's at 57, and in the 50s is still usually comfortable. When we're checking visibility, we're looking for a quarter of a mile or less if it's going to be fog, and we're still seeing that in Lewisburg. But Goldsboro's come up to a mile, so the fog is dissipating there. And pretty quickly, now that the sun is high enough, it's going to warm things up such that that fog is going to dissipate. We're still seeing some around Smithfield and Irwin, so parts of Johnston and Harnett County. And we saw a little fog in Rayford this morning as well. It looks like that's starting to dissipate as well. So again, our potential for fog now should be ending. High pressure offshore is bringing us a flow out of the south-southeast, and that pushed enough moisture in for some fog overnight. We could see that again tomorrow morning. That high is starting to pull away from us, and so we'll see less of that, but it'll probably be the weekend before we start to really dry things out again. Around town today for Halloween, 81 in Raleigh, 79 in Durham, and 82 in Fayetteville. Not too scary. Should feel pretty good, but we don't always see 80s on Halloween. We've only seen it 9 times since 1944. 34 at RDU. Halloween forecast just looking nice. We'll see mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies, a warm afternoon, but fairly low humidity. And the evening trick-or-treat time temperatures look great. 5 o'clock, 76. By 7 o'clock, 71. I happened to be out yesterday evening, and it was just really pleasant. We'll see that again today. Not quite record highs, but not too far from it. 81 today and the record 85. On Friday, 82, but the record's 88. So we can definitely see some warm temperatures this time of year. And this is typically the time we start to see some pretty color around here, too. Really noticed it this week. Don Regal sent us this picture from Falls Lake, looking beautiful there with some color. We'd love to see your Weather Watcher photos, too. Go to WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers. Time change this weekend. We fall back and go back to standard time. So sunset at 6:19 right now. Sunset is at 5:19. That sunrise, though, on Sunday is going to be, earlier. So 6:45 gets light earlier. It gets dark earlier, too. So just a little bit of an adjustment. It does give us an extra hour of sleep, which I think folks at City of Oaks Marathon will be happy about. They're going to take over downtown Raleigh. We're a proud partner of this race, and temperatures will be in the 50s at race start time. Of course, there's several different lengths of race, all the way from marathon back down to a 5K. It will be cooler in the afternoons over the weekend with highs in the 70s.
Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center got some brand new information on a story we have been following out of that Peach Road Park assault that happened about 10 o'clock yesterday morning. Police arrested this man. His name is Mende Musambo, and he's arrested on felony charges of rape, sexual assault and battery, and kidnapping. This was an incident, as I mentioned, Peach Road Park in the southern part of Raleigh. Police say that it happened yesterday morning. A woman who takes her kids there, we talked to her earlier. She tells us she saw that man there over the weekend, kicked him off a park bench there, and says she's not going to bring her kids back there unsupervised at any point in the near future. The girl in the incident was taken to the hospital for treatment.
Another story we're following, Jeff. An Orange County man will appear in court today. That's because police say a gun belonging to him was found on school grounds. 47-year-old Joseph Osborne was charged with bringing a weapon onto an educational property. Staff at Sandback Middle reported an abandoned vehicle on campus yesterday morning. A school resource officer later found a gun hidden within a case near the car. The school was briefly put on lockdown because of that. The number of people killed during Helene in North Carolina has exceeded 100. Specifically, 101 lives were lost as a result of the storm, according to state leaders. Most of these people were in western North Carolina.
More of the Blue Ridge Parkway is back open. The National Park Service says it restored access to nearly 55 miles of the parkway. This includes Graveyard Fields Overlook and trailheads, a section in Cherokee near the Great Smoky Mountains National Park entrance, and at Waternock Knob Visitor Center. And you can find out what's open and what's still closed, from roads to businesses, with our interactive maps. Just go to WRAL.com and search map.
Today, Elon Musk's $1 million a day sweepstakes for certain voters may be shut down. A Pennsylvania judge ordered a hearing for today regarding this sweepstakes. Musk's America Political Action Committee is giving the money away to promote voting in key states. Philadelphia's DA says this violates federal law that bans paying someone to vote. The DA is also considering criminal charges. The judge says all parties involved, including Musk, must be at that hearing. His attorneys have not said, though, if he'll be there.
There are more E. coli cases linked to people who ate at McDonald's. The FDA says there are 90 people in 13 states who have gotten sick. That number was 75 at the end of last week. Raw slivered onions on the Quarter Pounder are blamed for this outbreak. The restaurant chain says the onions came from a California supplier called Taylor Farms. The FDA is investigating the processing center in Colorado Springs, where most of the cases have been reported. There are still no cases reported here in North Carolina.
A hearing date to consider resentencing Eric and Lyle Menendez is set for December 11th. That's according to a court official and a spokesperson for the brothers' lawyer. Prior to the resentencing hearing, the judge will hold a November 25th status hearing on that request. The brothers were sentenced to life in prison without parole back in '96. That was for the murder of their parents. The Los Angeles District Attorney recommended the sentence be reduced to life in prison with possibility of parole.
The man suspected of setting ballot boxes on fire in Oregon and Washington state may be planning more attacks. That's according to authorities. Investigators in Portland say they believe the man who set the fires appears to be an experienced metal worker. They say the way his incendiary devices were built and attached to drop boxes shows the expertise. They also say the devices were marked with the message "Free Gaza."
A Wyoming polling firm is suing Mark Robinson's campaign. Vox Insight says friends of Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson agreed in September to pay for polling services to inform the campaign strategy. The lawsuit claims the campaign had 30 days to pay a nearly $115,000 invoice for services, but missed the deadline. The Robinson campaign called the lawsuit a baseless effort to, quote, extort money from the campaign. You can read more on this story at WRAL.com.
Halloween may be the day when kids care the most about the weather so they can strategize for that trick-or-treating. As Amy Kiley reports, this Halloween weather could make history.
Happy Halloween! Some trick-or-treaters are in for weather so unusual today. It's almost spooky. Forecasters say this could end up being one of the warmest Halloweens ever for parts of the Great Lakes, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic. They say several cities could set new record highs, including Washington, D.C. Here's First Lady Jill Biden in a giant panda costume yesterday, hosting trick-or-treating at the White House with temperatures in the 70s. Meanwhile, the Sacramento area is getting its first real snowstorm of the season.
How about you, there, big guy?
And the weather in Des Moines, Iowa, is why kids there get to trick-or-treat on Halloween today for the first time since 1938. The metro area usually holds what's called Beggar's Night on October 30th due to past issues with Halloween violence. This year, it's on the 31st. Officials say they were worried about yesterday's storms.
There's just no point in taking that risk when you've got a beautiful day in the forecast coming the next day. We have a means to act quickly to make sure that we can get this done right.
Several constituents affected by the decision say they support the move.
It makes a difference, but you still get candy.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, voters have said that the economy is one of the main topics that they want discussed and talked about at length in this coming election. And there's a key Fed inflation rate that has just come out, and it hit 2.1%. So 2.0 is where they would like inflation, the Fed anyway. That's near pre-pandemic levels. As you look at this, and what kind of indicator is it right here? It is closely watched. It is the lowest level in 3.5 years. It's the Consumption Expenditures Price Index. It's the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation indicator. So they look at this and they'll couple this with Friday's job report as well, and that'll help them make their decisions when they have their two-day policy meeting next week.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Starbucks will no longer charge extra for oat, soy, and almond milk. The company says dropping the surcharge should save those customers about 10%. And next year, the coffee giant will also bring back the condiment bar where people poured their own milk and sweeteners before the pandemic. The changes are part of the new CEO's strategy. He also said Starbucks needs to deliver drinks in 4 minutes or less. He also pledged not to raise prices over the coming year.
The Diwali celebration happening right now in India is breaking a world record. In one Indian state, people lit more than 2.5 million oil lamps to mark the holiday. The lamps are shining brightly on riverbanks and roofs along a mile-long distance. Thousands of volunteers participated in the effort in celebration of the Festival of Lights. Nintendo fans have something to be excited about this morning. The company released its Nintendo Music app. Fans can access music from fan favorites such as Animal Crossing, Super Mario, Metroid, and The Legend of Zelda, my favorite. Nintendo has not made its music available on traditional streaming platforms, and fans have requested a way to play their tunes. Just a heads up, though, you do need a Nintendo account and an active Nintendo Switch online membership to access that music.
Chris is like geeking out right now.
You already know I have the app on my phone. You don't even have to ask.
You do, yes. All right, before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. Good luck.